Switching gears,
Big
let's
switch.
talk about Apple
Fuck
yet again.
Apple. Fuck Apple.
So
Fuck Apple.
Apple blocks. Apple went out of their way to block the Xbox xCloud application from the App Store.
They recently just blocked somebody else too.
This one goes deep. Yeah, they kicked Fortnite out as well. So this one goes deep. So
Fortnite one might be a little bit more justified.
For those of you who are not in the know, Xbox.
Yeah, I missed this one.
xCloud or whatever they're calling it. Pretty much, this is a cloud service that allows you to stream your video games from the cloud.
Okay.
And what's interesting about that is you don't need the raw hardware power on the device you're on to play these heavy-hitting games. Let's put that in perspective.
Get you on way.
If you take something like Halo, you can never play Halo on your phone. It's just
full experience of Halo.
Right, it's a graphically intensive thing. Your phone can't handle that. But if you take Halo and put it in the cloud and let the cloud crunch the graphics and funnel it down to your phone, now you can get away with it. The only thing you have to worry about, like Snow just said, is your internet connection to the cloud. So this is what Microsoft wasn't the first to do this. We've seen this so many times before. We've seen OnLive. We've seen Sony's took their crack at it. But you've got Stadia. That's Google Stadia that just launched. Out of all of those, the Xbox Game Cloud, the xCloud seems to be the favorite one for the industry because Microsoft figured out how to make the experience work. And what I mean by work is it's not about the cloud crunching the numbers. It's about your connection to the cloud. So if you get on there, chances are, if you connect from a Starbucks Wi-Fi to the cloud, no, you will not be good. Right? But in theory, if you connect from your house where you've got 400 or 500 megs down, you should be good. With all the other services, that was not the case. Even with decent internet connection, it was not good. Somehow Microsoft figured out how to get it work, and they're banking on it heavy.
Okay.
Fine. Apple is saying, because Microsoft is pushing this down to iOS and Android, and everyone's super excited because now you're looking at a scenario, and it's a very real scenario because it was in beta for a long time.
Right.
You connect your controller via Bluetooth, it's your PlayStation 4 controller or your Xbox One controller, to your tablet or your Android phone or your iOS phone, and you launch this xCloud app, and there it is. There's Halo, and it works, and it fucking works. And Microsoft is charging you. Microsoft is all about this subscription service. So for what is it, $25 a month? You get access to 100 games up there and more coming. Right. So everyone's excited to get a piece of this experience.
Right.
Apple shows up and says, nah, y'all get the fuck off my app store. What's going on here?
Right.
So Apple is saying, we are who we are because every single app that touches the app store has to go through a rigid test process to make sure it's safe for our users. Okay? And how this app stands out from the norm, Apple is saying within this xCloud app, you have other applications. They're talking about these 100+ games. So Apple is saying we need to be able to go through every single game and certify it and say that it is good to go, which is the most anti-consumer, dumb fucking thing I've seen from Apple thus far.
Yo, aren't they in litigation, some sort of court issue right now over this type of shit?
I don't remember exact. Yeah, there's something.
It has something to do with their.
They're getting reamed for some shit like this already. Yeah,
it's like what?
So this is the reason Amazon Amazon Video doesn't exist on iOS. And it's partly the reason it doesn't exist on the app on the Android Play Store. What's interesting here is Apple blocked the xCloud app, and they blocked Google Stadia app. And Google Stadia is the exact same thing.
So they must have blocked PlayStation Now as well.
No, they did not. So they're saying what makes the PlayStation version different is because they're streaming from their PlayStation in their home. Now, understand the technicalities between this.
No, that's the remote play.
That's the one they didn't block.
The remote play, I understand, but it should be under the same thing.
PlayStation, I don't know if the PlayStation one is still rocking.
The PlayStation Remote or the PlayStation Now, those are two different
PlayStation
things.
Now was never on iOS.
Okay, cool.
I don't think it was ever on iOS.
Okay.
But the PlayStation Remote app is what's very telling about this. You've got, let's talk about client and terminal, right? Or terminal and server. Your phone now becomes a terminal. And that terminal connects to a server somewhere. With the PlayStation app that's allowed to rock, it just happens to be a PlayStation in your house. But you're still streaming that connection. With the Xbox and the Stadia, the PlayStation is up in the cloud.
Right.
What, pray tell, is the fucking difference?
Yeah.
You understand what's going on? I'll tell you the difference. Apple has their own arcade shit.
Yeah.
That they also bundle under a subscription. They don't want, because if you're going to be spending that same money a month, Apple's arcade now looks like fuck compared to the real games that you can get over on the console side.
Right.
And it's my wholehearted belief that Apple's like, no, protect that. That's what we call anti-consumer.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? And it's the wildest. They're even like pundits, the Apple pundits. Like, I don't know if you guys know who Rene Ritchie is. Made this long scathing video and blah, blah, blah. And the end of it, he was like, Apple's fucking wrong here.
Right.
Because the reason that they would want to scrutinize each piece of software within that software is because they're looking for threats. Fam, you're just streaming this data. It's not accessing any microphone or any of this shit on the hardware. Like, no, it's just a stream. It's no different than Netflix. And if you can let Netflix on, right? If you can let so imagine them saying, yo, we're banning Netflix because we can't certify every single fucking movie that's on there. How fucking dumb does that sound?
Exactly. Netflix, Amazon Prime, Hulu,
This
HBO
is exactly
Max,
what they're doing. And it comes at a time.
Twitch.
It comes at a time when Microsoft is taking some beatings out here, right? Because they got a misstep with Halo, which we'll talk about in another episode. The leak of the Xbox S console,
Series S, yeah,
right? Which I meant to come back to you, Snow. Now does the Series X make sense? The naming, you know what I mean? Because there's an S and there's an X. Fair enough. And now, because Microsoft,
I think the S should be first. The S.
No, the X is the true power, and the S is kind of like you can ball, at a cheaper price point. So now here comes Microsoft. They already took the L. They're not launching with a big title like Halo, but they're saying to everyone, fam, don't even worry about it. We got all these games up here that you can rock with. And on top of that, you can play these games on your fucking phone. So they're established themselves as a platform, much less than a traditional console before. They're branching out. And here comes Apple just putting the thumbtack in that. Whoops, that's a large market that Microsoft would have been able to capture on iOS devices versus just gamers in general. It's a large market. I could argue there are a lot of Sony people out there who would not have bought an Xbox before, but would buy an Xbox now because they can play some of these games truly on the go because they don't have a Vita like they used to have a Vita. But they got a phone, they got an iPad,
Yo,
You could still
sidebar.
get a hardcore gaming experience in.
Sidebar. What if they hack the xCloud into the Vita?
Yo, the way Microsoft is moving these days, I wouldn't be surprised if Microsoft was like, fam, hold that.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's nothing difficult, right? It's just an app that streams to the cloud. They could do it. They could do it on Nintendo if they wanted to, and that's Microsoft's play. They're decentralizing the experience. So the experience is no longer the experience for all Microsoft properties in terms of games are no longer tied to that box. Wherever you are, they want you to be able to play. And understand how crazy this gets. They could turn around and launch xCloud, the xCloud on Windows 10. Well, why would you need it? You're on a PC. But you can go in Best Buy and buy a $600 laptop and still ball out.
Yep.
Like shit just looks different.
Or even my little 350 throwaway. Because
Right.
my 350 throwaway, I'm working on my powerful machine at the job at home. And as long as I can use whatever I need to use, there's no difference in performance or issue. I'm very close to 1-to-1. If it was video game related, fam, it's like I have it installed on this machine.
Yeah. And I think of like when my wife and I went on our honeymoon, I had my iPad with me. It was an iPad Pro. Because you never know. You know, I may feel like editing some images while we in the room doing nothing, relaxing at night. You know
Those
how
periods happen. Those times happen
absolutely.
when you're on vacation.
You know how, because it's a ton of downtime on vacation, right? You know how elated I would have been to be able to still play some games? And not here's the mobile game, the Candy Crush, like still be able to build cars in Forza.
Yeah, like, yo, what was it? What dropped? And you had y'all had a trip already planned?
Oh, no, that's when the Xbox One came out.
Yeah.
I was in the Poconos, fam. That hour and 30-minute drive turned into 45 minutes. I got to GameStop. No, I had it home, but I had to pick up, I think, a battery from GameStop.
Battery, yeah.
For the controller.
You had the first edition.
Yeah, fam. Boy, oh boy. I was like, fuck, son, this vacation is ruining my life. Because I know everybody had their joint sets like the Thursday.
Yo, you're always never there.
Absolutely.
There
I'm
was
never
a few,
there.
I want to say Battlefield was one. One of the Battlefields.
Two of them
you
dropped,
wasn't
and I
there.
was
There's
traveling
another
for
one
work.
in there, son. I was like, yo, son.
I'm never home, son. Like, I'll be
So I
upset.
think this was leveled. I think this was leveled up.
I'll be
I think it was
upset,
Like,
son.
niggas had ACOGs on their joint before you even got the gun.
I'll be
that they were using.
upset.
Son, that's
So yeah,
wild.
the xCloud thing is still, and this is not about Apple. This is not about Microsoft. These concepts are very clear. Microsoft is decentralizing themselves as a company. And because they know Windows has an end date, right? Everyone knows mobile is the future. And what Microsoft is doing is taking the services that people use and they're making it available wherever. What's clear as day to see here is how Apple responds when challenged. Because people are taking these heavy hitting experiences that existed elsewhere and they're bringing it into Apple's world, and it's conflicting with what Apple is trying to get off the ground. And now you're seeing how Apple responds. Now you're seeing just how not open Apple is, which, by the way, is their prerogative.
Yeah.
But it's always been like this, and they do some anti-consumer shit. And it just so happens that in this country, there are laws against this, because these are the same fuck-faced laws that people told me Microsoft was evil for back in the 90s. It wasn't that Microsoft product sucks. They were complaining about Microsoft business practice. So I'll always bring it back to that. How come the government got off their chair and knocked Microsoft off their ass, but they're not doing it now? When Facebook does it, Google does it, Amazon does it, Apple does it. They're all in court today for the wildest anti-consumer behavior. Where's the iron thumb now? And you know who's not in court for this? Microsoft. You get what I'm saying? So what do we do? Do you turn around and reward Microsoft and say, okay, you guys seem to be behaving. You are the model of what it's supposed to be, and they're still out here fucking around. So if you're not going to penalize them like you should, it's the law, then show me how you turn around and lift Microsoft up. Because when you say Microsoft today to a Gen Z, they're going to be like, Microsoft, what do they do?
Yeah.
And it's
They don't
crazy.
know.
It's crazy, fam. Like, they're the ones that the technology they're coming up with is running the world, and the practices that they're doing it. Son, you will the only time I've heard that behind the scenes Microsoft don't have their shit together is recently, and that's with that Halo conversation. Motherfucker said that behind the scenes, the Halo's a mess. Like, it's not a good, but everywhere else for the last like 10 years, everyone's just happy to work at Microsoft. They love the products. They love the energy. It's a company that thinks about their people first, and the end goal is to better humanity.
Bring Windows Phone back, God damn it.
I'm all right with the Duo. We on
Android Windows Phone, son. It's like, you know how LG and Samsung do what they do?
Yeah.
Just do that.
Oh, we're going to talk about that in the episodes coming, because that Duo, that Surface Duo is calling my name.
Still scheduled for for fourth quarter, right?
Yeah, they say it might be sooner than later. It might be in the next month or so, but
goodness,
I forgot all about it.
Yeah, I need it. So let's switch gears.